I think with a YouTube channel, I feel like I've heard a lot of other like YouTubers um, say that they just kept making videos until one day like one of their videos kind of popped, and then once that happens, it's like all your videos start getting more and more views because you have more subscribers. So obviously, the more subscribers you have, the more like I don't know if automatic is the right word, but in a sense, you kind of are gonna get that, you know, 1 to 2,000 views like every time. Or then like the first, while you're in the trenches, it's sometimes you're really fighting to break that 1K. Um, Even though we've had multiple videos now that have hit 1K, and then your last video hit over 13. So it's just interesting how I guess certain topics seem to hit the work better in the algorithm and I guess resonate with more people because I think the more people that like it and comment on it, the algorithm boosts that video. So it's just been interesting to see how those certain videos take off and other ones just flatline.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes for me, it's like the videos that I would least expect to blow up are the ones that do, and the ones that, you know, I think are really gonna go, they just flop. So it's weird.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes like you think you have it figured out, and then you're just you're just shown that you don't. Uh, I guess that's kind of just how life is. You know, you start to figure one thing out, and then there's 10 more things that you have no idea how they operate or work.
Yeah, I mean, making content's that way. I mean, I remember I'd post a video and it'd get like 30 views, like for the length of that upload. It's like, damn it. This video should get more views. And then you post the next one, it gets 42. It's like, okay, all right. And then, finally gets 100 or 200. And, well, here we are, kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's nice to get the validation of the idea, you know?
Yeah. I think that's why you see a lot of people sort of have a format to like either the way they shoot and edit their videos and also a format within like how they upload. Like I know there's certain people that I'm subscribed to. It's like every Sunday morning that they're gonna have a video out, unless they like tell you that they're not. So when you like do stuff like that, it creates like your following of subscribers. It's like I know like every Sunday, so like they're gonna have a video and I'm gonna watch it. Um, so maybe like that's something we start doing is like creating more of a pattern to when the videos are uploaded. That way you kind of like get people on that pattern to like to expect like content to be available.
Yeah, not only just the pattern of upload, but the pattern of sharing. I was looking at some of our metrics there, and a lot of our views actually came from one or two people that shared the link to an external source, because you can kind of tell on the analytics that sort of stuff, like where your views are coming from. And we had like one link that came from somewhere else, maybe someone on Instagram or whoever shared our video, and that kind of actually, I think, started the cycle. And so it's also about creating shareable content too.
Yeah.
We're just figuring it out, man. I think that this definitely is a confirmation, at least for me, what the future of the project needs to be and also what people resonate with. Because if you look at our recent videos, 5 comments here and there, 50 likes, something like that. But this topic, blew up. And I think it could have been any video, could have been your video, could have been someone else's. It's just this topic in particular was hot, and so it's about identifying more topics like that. Or maybe we keep building off this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the topics you and I both talked about, you know, there's so much you can build off them because there's so much depth to those topics. Um, so they're always like things you can circle back and, continue to talk about. I mean, and some people, all they talk about is like the same topic. They just approach it from different angles or like keep saying the same thing but differently. And people watch it. I mean, people watch anything really. I mean, it's crazy.
They really do. I mean, I watch content all the time from various people, and they'll talk about things that they've already talked about before, but like you said, slightly different. And no matter how many times I hear it in a different way, there's still new things to pick apart from it. So, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, it just when you talk about certain things in like a different way, allows your kind of mind to kind of peel off the layers or see it from a different perspective that you may have not seen before. And I know, like, I'm doing that, like, higher ideal, like, school and stuff. And, the teacher, Ryan, I mean, he's basically saying, and a lot of times he's basically saying, like, the same point, but he's just teaching it or wording it in a different way. And that allows me and the other people in the program to be like, damn, I know you've been saying this for the past, 3 months, but when you say it like that, it just like really hits me differently. And now I like, it kind of like puts, another piece of the puzzle together. So there really is something to it with just talking about the same thing, but just approaching it from a different angle. Um, and I think even in the Discord, Jay was talking about something about saying like, I don't want to keep talking about something like about along the lines of I don't everything's been said or something, and it's like, yeah, but like when you say something with your experiences and your perspective, it offers something different.
Right. You can somehow feel that whatever you want to say is repetitive or has already been said before, and it's so boring because, you already know it, but, maybe people need your exact perspective, the thing that you've been working on for so long that's so easy for you to understand, but you give it out to someone else, they just like, whoa. And that happens all the time. So it's just kind of about accumulating those perspectives at this point.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
really nuanced perspectives that will be like perfect to go here and then to go here and you know.
yeah. And I guess kind of like a topic we can go into. I think I mentioned is like the like perspective and perception, and like kind of what that entails in reality, because that's what shapes our reality as our perspective and our perception. And people sort of interchange the two words, but they are two different things. Yeah, I will actually. It's uh, fire off this. I was curious about this about like a week or two ago, and I asked ChatGPT to give me the definitions between the two. So I'm gonna pull that up, and we'll read what ChatGPT says about perspective and perception. So it says the terms perspective and perception are often used interchangeably, but they refer to different concepts, especially in psychology and everyday language. So perspective refers to a particular attitude or way of viewing something. It's about the angle or standpoint from which an individual considers or interprets information and experiences. So then it goes on to give like characteristics. It says subjective viewpoint. It involves an individual's background, experiences, and context influencing how they interpret situations. Influence of context. Perspective can be shaped by cultural, social, and personal context. And then it goes broad and dynamic. It encompasses a broader and more comprehensive view and can change over time as new experiences and information are integrated. And then here an example. Two people might view the same event differently due to their perspectives. For instance, an optimist may see a challenging situation as an opportunity, while a pessimist might see it as a setback. Um, and there's that like meme that was really popular with like the two people sitting on the bus, and it kind of has like the optimists and the pessimists. So that's always great of way of showing perspective. And then perception. Perception refers to the process of becoming aware of something through senses. It's about how sensory information is interpreted by the brain. So characteristics, sensory process. It involves recognizing, organizing, and interpreting sensory stimuli. Then it's immediate experience. Perception is about the immediate experience of stimuli from the environment. Biological basis. It is rooted in the neurological and psychological processes that allow us to process sensory inputs. Example, when looking at an optical illusion, two people might see different images based on their perception. For example, one might see a vase, while the other might see two faces. So the key difference is perspective is about the interpretive stance or mental framework, while perception is about the sensory experience interpretation of the experience. Um, Kind of goes on more. I'll just read the conclusion. While perspective and perception are closely related, they operate at different levels of human experience. Perspective is a broader interpretive framework shaped by various influences, while perception is the immediate sensory interpretation of the world around us. Understanding both concepts is crucial for comprehending how we interpret and interact with our environment and each other. So, I mean, that's like, that doesn't get much better in a definition and examples and kind of laying it all out than that. Um, so yeah, I can't speak. Chat GBT is awesome for like things like that. Um, don't be afraid of AI, even though Chat GBT isn't really AI. Um, but yeah, so
To put it into
um,
reality designing terms, your perspective could be your personality plus your theme for how you're going to interpret the world, perhaps through like a mental and the emotional and spiritual layout. It's kind of like your
it's your like
baseline configuration, right?
yeah, it's your template. You know, it's kind of like you know your software in a set. I guess in a way.
Your perception, that would be, I guess that's like the raw data for how
Yeah.
the body and you as the experiencer take in information. It's like the main hardware of how you're going to process the thing in its most raw form. So my question would be, is there a way we can upgrade our perception ability, because that's the thing that comes first, and then there's a processing layer there which then starts to develop a perspective. So it's clear that, there's like one thing happens kind of before the other.
Yeah. Yeah, because as it said, like your perception is immediate. It's what you're taking in, through your senses. It's how you perceive what's right in front of you. Um, I guess in a sense, kind of like what I just talked about in my video is you can enhance and sort of level up your perception with your ability to focus. The more you can have that laser mind, the better your perception's going to be. Um, a great example that was taught to me in this school was he said, a lot of people have like that their focus is like a light bulb where it's just kind of like dimly shining all around the room, but you want to have your focus more like a laser. Because when you're spread out so far, it's harder to like operate at a higher function.
That is interesting. That I do feel that sometimes where when you're really focusing on something, it's kind of like you're traveling down a tunnel of, to me, it sometimes feels like pre-selected thought, like slides. It's like, all right, I entered the one slide and then I focused enough to get to it and then come into a new one. And it's kind of like a wave sometimes where you're focusing on something and you just keep getting that clear download stream. The mind lines, mind tunnels.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I think about like just like trying to multitask or something, you're never very efficient. You know, people may say they're efficient at multitasking, but I and maybe some people are, but I feel like you get your best work done um, when you're just focused on that one thing. Your mind is just you're narrowed in on it, like with that laser focus, and whatever that may be, it's like you said, it's just like flowing through you, because you're like opening up that path for those like thoughts or ideas for whatever may be doing to come through. You're not like uh, it's like I'm not trying to, make a beat and edit a video at the same time. Like, I was like, I would go like horribly wrong. It's just like I wouldn't. My mind would just be split two ways, and like I'd probably finish it, and then I'd go back and listen to it later and be like, "What the fuck was I doing? Like this doesn't like this bass line doesn't make sense. Like this melody doesn't go right. Like just it's just I feel like your energy is not is split, so you're not fully there with either thing you're doing.
That's what I kind of talked about in my, not the one that blew up, but my recent one, which was talking about how you can recognize which mode you're currently in and then do different tasks according to what that mode says you should do. So if you're in a creative mode, do creative things. It's kind of just like, I guess, what I do. But if I'm not in a creative mode, maybe I'm in a logical or an analytical, numbery, sort of like hyper focus mode, then I'll do something like coding or programming or anything like that. And there's probably other like several different modes that I haven't begun to like even compartmentalize or think about yet. And so, I mean, that's how I personally try to operate. I sort of like multitask within the same theme of what is what could be like related together as working together, like energies that pair well, right? But I mean, sometimes you gotta hyper focus too, and just finish whatever you gotta do. I mean, that's my biggest struggle, really, is finishing things till completion.
Yeah, it's
Because there's always the
not
next
always
thing,
easy.
man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people struggle with that. But yeah, I mean, being able to have that focus and like, I think that also allows you, like when you have like less noise in your mind, it allows you to see more data. Um, and when you can like see more data, it allow that also allows you to make like um, cleaner choices with what you're doing. Um, By like cleaner, I mean you don't, you're not like hesitating as much to do things. You're just like I can see this. I know this is the right, like this is what I need to do. Yeah. Yeah, you become more present.
Yeah, that's what focus really is. It gets more, to me, it gets more complex as you go down it, because as you focus a little bit, it opens up that tunnel, and then now there's more stuff to focus on, and then you pick another angle, and that opens up a new thing. And so as you direct your focus, there's also, like you say, more data points that open up. And I think that's where maybe people lose their focus, because now there's more shit that's now available, and they lose the focus and retreat back to zero and then have to focus again.
Yeah, it's and like it's just so easy to lose focus with how many things there are to distract you nowadays. I mean, you can just pick up your phone and get lost for hours.
Pick up the artificial reality screen. Yeah, so focus is important, especially in this day and age. We recently had some people on the video too. They were talking about psychedelics again. How psychedelics were these really impactful things that have helped heal them. So, you know, we could talk about that. Maybe not today, but that's down the pipe or whatever. It's just interesting to
Yeah,
see
I
where everyone's
mean,
kind of at, what people are talking about, what they value. That video was one of the most valuable comment sections I think I've ever even seen on any video, ever, honestly. Of course,
which video?
the one that I just did that blew up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe I don't go down too many people's comment sections that aren't my videos, but there were a lot of really thoughtful comments there that it's like, wow, that
Yeah.
I didn't know too many people were like really on that level or thinking about stuff that way.
I mean, it is it is a different time than like any other time. Uh, so I mean, I definitely understand why that video took off. Because yeah, for like younger people, it's like very different to be living in this time period than any other time period as an, a younger generation. Like even in like my generation, like it was kind of right when the internet was like starting to like pop. It's like when AOL was getting big. What? Yeah, yeah, AIM and like yeah, MSN was just like and like chat rooms and yeah, I mean it was like a whole different world. I remember it was like going on and like talking to your friends after school and then like going into these chat rooms and then just like being like it was like so crazy because there was just no monitoring at the time for them. So they were just wild with like you didn't really know who you were talking to, but it's like either other kids from other country or you know very weird people, and you just you stayed away from the weird people. Um, but yeah, it's interesting times. I was like the age of MySpace, and yeah, so it's kind of like the internet obviously like existed before that, but like that's when it started to sort of blossom. It's kind of like the Wild West. Um, it was like the early um, years of YouTube and stuff. Like it was, um, but yeah, now it's just like it's developed so much, and there's so much information, and like you can go on YouTube and like learn anything you want, or there's like all the conspiracy theories and everything out there, and just everything's a lot more like interconnected, and also at your fingertips because now you have cell phones with the power of like a computer um, in your pocket. So yeah, of course, like these younger kids are like in some senses like developing faster and like awakening to certain things a lot quicker because they just have the information like right there for them to access. Um, but there's also, but also like, I'm not sure how many of them are like that because it also seems like a lot of them are just very brainwashed in certain ways too. Um,
That was the main feedback from the video. If I were to kind of summarize it, would be like, yes, the older generations are kind of crazy, but that doesn't mean the younger generations are all like you or thinking about this stuff. Maybe that's just kind of your interest and you're kind of projecting that onto the world. And I mean, the thing is, like, the younger people, they are awakening in that they have more capacity for self expression more than any other generation in time. And I think because of that, they're almost able to awaken to other things because they're not really chained up or locked into how you should be. And there's this radical stepping away from what I should be, what my parents think I should be, what society. So that rebel nature is kind of emerging. And because of that, I think they're awakening, but not really probably because of anything else. The question was like whether it's actually this generation. It's, you know how they say like, you know, the kids born in 2000s, they're the indigo starseed, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's like, is that what it is, or is it just having technology? Like if the generations were flipped and we were the old one and the old one right now is the new one, would we have produced the same effect? I mean, probably. So I think it's technology, man.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
think
think
it's
it's
technology.
technology. Like
Maybe
maybe
it's a
it's a
little
little
bit
bit
of
of the other
everything,
thing,
but
but
yeah,
yeah,
I
I
just
just
think
think
like
like
yeah,
yeah,
technology
technology
allows
allows
like
like
access
access
to
to
so
so
much
much
information.
information.
Because think about it, before, you had to either see stuff on TV or hear it on the radio. And both of those formats were very not creative forms of media. And so if you didn't pay attention to that, you probably paid attention to your own mind and then used that for your own entertainment or wherever you are in your local environment. And so now, like, kids can just be entertained with the highest quality media every second. And I think it's actually made them also better at producing their own media. And by that nature, it also makes them better at producing their own ideas. And so they are kind of
Yeah,
leveling up in their communication, in their network or language, culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So at my like um, event today, when I was like setting up my stuff, I was just kind of listening to the people talk, and this one lady was saying like, yeah, like my granddaughter, she's 5 years old, and she has a YouTube channel about, you know, for makeup or something. I was like, the girl's 5 years old, but regardless of the what the content is, it's still like a 5 year old making like a YouTube channel. And then she was saying like, yeah, there's like kids this age like making a lot of money I guess they're talking about like one kid in particular. He just was like opening toys and reviewing toys, and now like they put his name on toys in like Walmart and Target, so like approved by Johnny. And it's so yeah, like that's definitely happening where they're. I mean, you even see it with like babies like knowing how to use like a phone or an iPad. Um,
So
Yeah, man, you give it like a 5-year-old an iPhone, they'll go into settings and go all this kind of stuff, and they already
yeah,
know. And oh, that's really crazy, man. That's what I was kind of saying before. Their mind is starting to work like a technological interface. And is that a consciousness upgrade or not? Because, people in the fringe spiritual circles that we used to belong to would say that technology is, the AI demons and, that's the real
yeah,
matrix. They're trying to lock us down. But for me, man, the more I've learned technology, my mind works like a technology. The body works like a technology. I just think that more of it just increasingly gets better and better and better and helps us.
yeah, I mean, it is a technology, so that's why it's like probably the most sophisticated piece of technology is the human body. Um,
It's
I mean,
so
you look at
sophisticated that it's like almost like it's just a biological life form, but it doesn't have computing power. It doesn't have any of this type of stuff. So it's beyond hardware technology. It's like ethereal technology.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's people that can do like all sorts of crazy shit with their body. Uh, like the people that can, uh, what's it called? Like remote view and stuff, and people like claiming to like change the weather and just do all sorts of like weird energy work and manipulation. Uh,
Kind of reminds me of those. A lot of movies and TV shows lately have been coming out about there's these new kids that are born and they have these special powers, and the government or whatever is trying to find them and lock them up. We do know that movies, in some sense, are predictors or maybe paving the way for what the future holds. I kind of wonder if one day we do kind of get humans, young kids, they come in with those like actual real powers and upgrades. I Maybe it's the science fiction nerd in me or whatever, but I'd like to think that it actually could happen. Maybe not in this generation, but I don't know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You never know. Um,
Maybe not all the crazy ones, like being able to like make fire come out your hand or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, yeah. The you always will see those videos circulating around of like who knows if they're real or not, but they show like the Tibetan monks like burning the piece of paper, um, which I mean, uh, I think could be very real. I mean, like I've not done stuff like that, but I mean I've done things like with like building energy, and I mean it's crazy. It's just like building like an energy ball in your hand, and like you can. It's I mean it's there's something going on. Like we are like electromagnetic sort of beings. I think if you like, I think it just takes like a high skill level to to do like more manipulation and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you like sit there and like concentrating like with your hands and just moving back and forward, you'll start to feel like this pulsating ball building up, and then you can like comb yourself and just like feel kind of like this heat pulsing magnetic sensation. Um, it's pretty interesting. Um,
Kind of reminds
what
me,
that is like,
I took a few Tai Chi classes quite a while ago, and this lady, she taught us a technique where you kind of make your hands into that ball and you feel it, and then you flatten it, and then you almost like try to imagine your right hand is your right side of your body, and your left is your left, and you you split apart yourself essentially by like doing this. You can like spread the sheets of yourself. I was really trippy. I haven't done a whole lot of that in a long time, but I don't know. Maybe we should start getting into that kind of stuff again.
yeah, it's interesting.
I just didn't
Sometimes
see
I'm
a
like,
benefit.
I think it's cool, and then sometimes I'm like, I mean, what's the real like? I don't know, benefits the right word, but like, what does that do for you, in a sense? Um, I guess it. I guess I would say it's I guess it's just a better mastering of your body and the mechanics of your body. Um, but that stuff's not gonna like help you live your everyday life. Well, maybe it can, but
Yeah, man, the answers to life are so strange. And right when you think you got it, you probably don't or whatever. And they say, just to keep living it. I mean, we're clearly in the physical reality for a reason. So when I was doing all that kind of spiritual stuff, crazy new age, psychedelic, floating off into wherever, it was a cool experience to do that, but it never really got me anywhere. And you think it gets you somewhere, which is what's crazy about it. But, a year later, 2 years later, it doesn't do anything for you. So that's just kind of crazy.
yes, it's just kind of just like a bunch of bullshit, sort of. It's like you gotta sort of like live a normal life and like know what it means to be normal before you can kind of start maybe doing some of that stuff. But so many of these people are just so like whacked out and like just so far gone, it seems like, from reality. And a lot of what they're doing is not accomplishing anything.
That's the main thing I was thinking about on my walk, whether it was yesterday or the other day, was just like, I think people start the spiritual journey first before ever attempting to live life without it. Because it's now been so heavily marketed what like the next upgrade is supposed to be, your next level, the alternate reality is waiting for you, step into the higher dimension, buy my course. So there's this like already predefined spiritual path journey that what it looks like. And if people want to get to the new dimension or move away from their pain or just start improving their life, they just like go to that version of it, and then there's several other versions of it, but it's all kind of played out. And I think that people just have to live a normal life first, and then selectively decide and figure out what each piece they need to upgrade. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes you do have to go down rabbit holes just to know not to go down them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes that's the only way people figure out that it's not working.
The thing that just really gets me though is like you can you can kind of fake it though as if it is working. And then, you know, once you have reached that point where you think it is working, typically what a lot of people do then is they try to sell to other people, hey, this thing worked for me. Either buy my course or start watching my videos. I'm going to teach you how to awaken. And you see several different of these videos or creators, and you can kind of look at it from the lens after you've been through all that. Like it really is just kind of all bullshit. So I don't know. I don't know if that pisses me off or anything, but
Yeah, I mean, these people are just kind of it's kind of annoying. Like all the Instagram gurus and whatnot. It's like, uh, I mean, I kind of been thinking about this too, and I'm like, it really has gotten so popular where everyone's like trying to become a coach or a teacher or some spiritual leader, and
or read
it's also
tarot
made these like,
cards, you know,
Or
or
what?
what?
or read tarot cards.
Yeah, or just like, the next yoga teacher or breathwork facilitator or Reiki master or freaking whatever light language meditation guide, and you know whatever it may be, like Krista chakra healer. And it seems like some people like, I think like some people are like genuine by it, but other people are like definitely not. And then it in some senses becomes like this competition of like, I'm who can be more spiritual. um
And the genuine ones are always the ones with the least amount of interaction and follows, and the ones who are the fakest are the ones that have the most follows, most likes, most comments.
yeah, because I think they're the ones that like they get like pushed, I think. Like they're probably, I don't know if they're like a plant uh or whatever, or what it is, but there definitely are certain people I'm just like, where did this person come from? Like, how do they have so many followers and like so many likes and so many comments on all their videos? Um,
It's
it's it's
kind of
kind of
wild.
wild
Maybe they just
when
won
you
the
think
algo
about it.
lottery, man. People will be saying the same stuff
Yeah,
about us.
yeah. Um, but it also like, I mean, I was just thinking about sort of that aspect of social media, how like certain people just, you just like they just pop up out of nowhere, and they're just like I said, it's just like, where did this person come from, and how do they already have like 500,000 followers? And you see that a lot with like the health and wellness too.
Yeah, it's really every industry relating to like becoming a better human, and this is the way that we should develop into. Like that entire theme of it all: veganism, plant-based, spirituality.
Yeah, but a lot of people are just like, they're literally just like trying, like they're literally just using like scare tactics. Like you'll see it, and they'll start the video and be like, "Did you know this food is killing you?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, or some people are like, "You're a fucking idiot if you are like, if you're still eating seed oils, like you're a dumb motherfucker." And it's like, wow, like what?
Yeah,
It's,
man, it's hard to say like I ever really scroll on YouTube or Instagram or wherever and find a genuine video. I'm like, wow, that was amazing. And if I do, I post it in, the videos chat on Discord, like, hey, I actually found something. But man, most content, there's like I feel like content has become something where people are just trying to sell you something,
Everyone
everyone
seems
seems
sell
like
like
you
that.
an
I mean,
idea, even if it's not a course or a
yeah.
product. It's like the way they talk is like they're trying to
yeah,
sell me their idea.
yeah. Well, it's like I mean, that's definitely what a lot of these people are doing. And it's so like you can see there's so many people that are just like all in this hive mind too. It's like with like the health stuff. It's just like you have all these guys now that are just like sort of like gym bros, like holistic wellness, and like they all have their shirts off, and then they're just like, "This is the primal way." Like, you want to be natural? Comment natty on my in my comment section, and I'll send you the guide, the free guide. And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then they like try to get you to buy their supplements that they're sponsored by. And it's just like I get it. Like this is what you do for a living, and it's how you make money. But some of it, yeah, it sounds so fake, and it's just like I've seen like 20 more, probably more than 20 of this person. It's just like a cutout cookie cutter, and it's just like, all right, here you go do this. Here you go do this. Here's the script. Uh,
It's like the Men in Black are there, like recording them, like, all right, say this now.
yeah, I mean, some of it feels like so scripted, where it's like, here are your key points, and we're not going to give you a script so it sounds a little more real, but like stick to these like five key points in like your next 10 videos. And then it's like, all right, we went through that cycle. Here are the next key points for your next 10 videos. And then you can see it because there's just like so many of the same people saying the same shit. Or it's just like people see people like, oh, that's like that worked for them. I'm going to do that. And it'll work for me. Like there's so many videos now of like people just going in the grocery store and being like, going there and they're like, why the fuck would you eat this? There's like hundreds of people that do that now.
Yeah, man. Once it's a trend and people have identified opportunity, they'll just milk it until we're all fed up with it.
Yeah. And it's just like crazy because like I said, it's just like so much of it is just like it's all like fear. Like they're like, I'm gonna scare the shit out of you so you don't want to eat anything, and then I'm gonna sell you on these supplements to fix like that problem, or here's this detox.
And that also, oh man, this is like I'll have to actually do a video about this. But there's the new cat in town, Brian Johnson. The Don't Die guy.
Yeah.
And my first video watching him, I don't know if I didn't like him, but I was like, this is kind of weird. This is like, is this the transhumanistic agenda starting? But then I watched another video and seen him develop in another one, and his new content coming out, and he's definitely switching into sales mode, but he doesn't bring that intense emotional fear to it. It's just the information, almost like a neutral. He's like a neutral robot, and
Yeah,
so
it kind of seems like a robot.
that is better, to almost like if you're
Yeah.
gonna talk about something controversial, to almost cancel out your own emotion about it, be neutral, and here's information. And that actually may be where like AI is really useful actually, because humans are so cluttered with like what they feel, and then that pollutes the message. But I like him a lot actually. If there's anyone in the health space I'd follow, it would probably be that guy, and maybe a handful of others. But all these like micro celebrities that are trying to blow up, that use all these trendy tactics and stuff. The cool thing, I guess, about what we're doing is we're not doing any of that. Like, I mean, we never will. It's all about being real. It's like the most, it's the best thing that we could possibly do and position ourselves for. Because people start to see you as one identity. Like, oh, that's the fitness guy, that's the health guy. When people see us and we talk, they're just like, we don't know what they're going to talk about. So let's tune in because we're going to learn something. And that's cool to not have an identity where you're just boxed in like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, a lot of those people are boxed into an identity, and that's what they have to. They got to talk about that. Keep talking about that stuff. I mean, They obviously can branch out, but um, they've kind of like built their brand on that identity.
Yeah, and that really kind of gets me to another topic too. I tried to talk about in the chat was like, I'll watch occasionally these YouTube videos that talk about, oh, like here's how you grow on YouTube. Here's the 5 ways to grow on YouTube. And in 2024, you got to be utilizing these steps to grow. And again, it's like these videos are made in such a way where they convince people to get more and more into that selling mode. You got to talk about these 5 niches, and then later sell it in the ebook, and then bring that to your newsletter. And the internet is kind of becoming about all sales and marketing and business, and in that we actually are kind of losing quality information because people want to gatekeep that behind a paywall. And I think that the future is like just about being more and more real, sharing more and more, and then money, which obviously we'd like at some point to fuel our lives, would just come from all these different angles eventually, but I don't even care about it right now. People are so focused on getting what they want to get first, and the new tactic or strategy is to give value, but they still give value under the presumption that they're going to get something, and we like have to even cancel that part out. Like, what if we just give, 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 give? That's a new way.
Yeah, that is true with those types of people. And they also like pitch it as a like it's something so easy to do.
And really, it hasn't actually worked for us. I mean, we've tried obviously the overly edited videos, jump cuts here. I take all the ums and ahs in every video and speed things up, and all this stuff. And those are usually always our worst performing videos, and always the content that me personally I don't like. And if we're just able to just hop on screen, record, dish it out there, it's actually easier for us to produce, and also it seems like people like it more. Very light editing, nothing fancy. People like that more because they're so burnt out from the overly high produced content. I mean, all content now, man, it's just like they're selling me something.
Yeah. We're not selling you anything. We're not selling you anything. Just give us money.
Well, we got the donational thing that you can donate to our Cash App in the description, but we've yet to ever receive a donation.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, whatever. Oh no, man, who knows, dude?
We're never gonna sell you anything, but you just have to give us money.
Yeah. Well, no, man, the future of the project is seeming bright,
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
even brighter than it ever has in the last few days. Can't let it derail us, though. We still gotta. What's the mission?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just keep making content and putting it out there, and you never know. It could be, who knows? Next week we could have 10,000 subs. Like, you really don't know what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it really is kind of inevitable that we will reach drastically bigger numbers. It just kind of is a matter of when. And I don't know, as a part of like reality designing, like for people who are trying to figure their life out, because I think that's the niche that in my videos I want to really harness a little bit more. Like, what do you do when you're just like realizing the matrix is real, kind of, and what do you do now? Is you got to have something in your future, right? It's kind of like that focus. Like you're focusing on what and why. Like why do you have to have the focus? Because what's the end result? And so you got to have some type of project you're working on or a goal and ambition. And that becomes the reason and the motivating factor to actually wake up every day and actually focus. I mean, if you don't have that, it's kind of pointless, right? Because you're focusing on something to get to nowhere. You gotta know where you're going, at least a little
Yeah.
bit.